Jungkook himself recounted that a friend was watching his livestream and asked him to sing "Love You with All My Heart." From the start, it was clear how comfortable he was, with that smile that always lights up the screen and those eyes that seem to sparkle a little brighter when he reads something he likes. In his last livestream, he appeared focused on the chat, reading messages and replying occasionally, but there was something different, something that made him check his phone every few minutes, as if he were waiting for something important. Jungkook couldn't hide that kind of happiness. Each song he chose seemed to have a hidden message, a small detail that many recognized. The lyrics spoke of affection, distance, unspoken love, and it was impossible not to think of Taehyung. That connection between them had always been there, even when they tried to hide it. And just as fans were starting to talk about it, news broke that a fan had seen Taehyung with Wooga during a private trip to Hawaii. Suddenly, the schedules, the streams, and the messages all started to make sense. Jungkook would go live at unusual hours, and his energy matched the time difference with Hawaii. While many thought it was just a coincidence, those who followed every detail understood what was really happening. Jungkook was connected to Taehyung's time, adapting to his rhythm, sharing songs and moments that seemed designed just for him. It was as if, through music, he was sending him messages full of affection without saying a single word. When Jungkook talked about disconnecting for a while, many remembered how much they both loved Hawaii. The idea that he could travel there, or at least be in sync with where Taehyung was, gave everything a new meaning. It wasn't just a coincidence, it was a way of being together even when they weren't in the same place. The distance didn't seem to matter to them, because even apart, they continued to share moments, even if it was through a phone screen. Fans who have followed Taekook for years recognize those small gestures, the way Jungkook changes his tone of voice when reading something, the messages that seem simple but say more than they show, the times when they both appear active for no apparent reason. Sometimes you could see Jungkook with his phone in his hand, even while playing games or resting. His attention always returned to the screen, as if waiting for a sign. It was said that he would show the lighting in his room during a video call, or that he would respond to requests that seemed to come from someone very close to him. And although no one confirmed it, everyone felt it, even at a distance. They continued to share every little detail of their day. Taehyung, for his part, seemed to be enjoying his trip with Wooga, and many wondered if he was there for work or simply for pleasure. But beyond the reasons, what was most striking was how, no matter where they were, they both seemed to remain present in each other's lives. Jungkook, with his live streams full of affection, and Taehyung with his silent presence, shared a connection that transcended schedules, places, and screens. Not a single day went by that Jungkook didn't play party animals with his favorite character, that little bear who had become almost a part of him. Every time he turned on the game, his face lit up with a smile that radiated calm and joy. He said that playing helped him reduce stress, and it was impossible not to believe him seeing him so focused and relaxed in front of the screen. His laughter, that soft and contagious laugh, filled the air with something beautiful, a sense of tranquility that made him forget any worries for a moment. The bear wasn't just a character to him, it was a choice with meaning. He had called it the cutest, and it wasn't hard to understand why. There was a connection in the way he spoke about it, a kind of affection that was evident in the small gestures. While he waited for the game to load, he raised his hand and gave the victory sign to the camera, as if waving naturally, without thinking too much about it. He did it once, and when he seemed to remember that some might have missed it, he repeated the gesture a little later, with the same genuine smile. It was the kind of detail that showed how Jungkook always thought of others, but also how, somehow, his personality reflected what he felt. Taehyung, his teddy bear, was always present in those little things. You didn't have to mention him directly to notice, you could feel it in the way Jungkook spoke, in how he smiled, in the tranquility he exuded. There was a part of Taehyung in every game, in every tender gesture, in every soft word that came out of his mouth while he played. And when the screen showed the moment the teddy bear and the bunny kissed, his reaction said it all. That wide smile, that look that lit up for an instant, was a silent response that needed no explanation. It was a mixture of surprise and tenderness, a sincere emotion that appeared unfiltered. And then, out of nowhere, he started singing "I Love You, Baby" while he continued playing. He said it without thinking, in that casual yet affectionate tone that makes the words sound more real. It was a brief moment, but enough to understand what lay behind it. There was no need to look for grand proof or declarations. The feelings were evident in the details, in the small actions that often speak louder than words. Love isn't always shown with grand gestures. Sometimes it lives in simple things, like a shared laugh, a twinkle in someone's eye, or a song sung for no reason. In Jungkook and Taehyung, that love seemed to be everywhere, discreet yet constant. Every gesture, and every choice in the game, seemed to have a story behind it. You just had to look closely to notice it. For those who follow Taekook, these moments are like small windows that reveal something deeper. They aren't coincidences, but rather fragments of something beautiful that has always been there. Jungkook doesn't have to say it directly, his actions show it effortlessly. And although many might overlook these details, those who observe with affection know that everything is there. The love between them is palpable, strong, natural, and full of meaning. You just have to let yourself be carried away by those gestures, those laughs, and those glances that, without saying much, say it all. Sometimes it seems they're not even aware of how much their gestures betray them. Jungkook doesn't look at anyone else like that, nor does he seek closeness with the same calm he has with Taehyung. It's something that simply happens, naturally, as if they both know, without saying a word, that this small space between them belongs to them, even as everything else continues to move around them. Anyone who has observed them closely understands this quickly. There's a way of communicating that doesn't need words. Taehyung, his teddy bear, was always there in those details that seem invisible to others, but are clear to those who pay attention. Nothing had to be said to notice, it was felt in how Jungkook relaxed near him, in the way he smiled, and in the tranquility that seemed to fill the room when they were together. Every game, every tender gesture, every soft word that came from Taehyung while playing had a little bit of him and a little bit of Jungkook in it. And when the screen showed that moment when the teddy bear and the bunny kissed, their reaction said it all without needing explanation. Over time, Taekook has shown itself to be just that, two people who support each other without having to prove it. When one stumbles, the other is close, not to point it out, but to silently accompany them, and that closeness never seeks approval or attention, it simply exists. It's a refuge that remains, steadfast even if no one notices, even if no one says anything. Every gesture seems to spring from everyday affection, from something that has become natural through habit, but that still carries weight. The way Jungkook snuggles up to Taehyung, how Taehyung lets him touch him casually, even how their hands brush against each other without either of them planning it, speaks louder than any words. There are glances that meet in the middle of nowhere and understand each other effortlessly. There are silences that don't make you uncomfortable, because in them you feel the presence of the other. Every little detail, from the way they share a drink to how Taehyung laughs at something Jungkook says, reinforces that feeling of closeness that needs no explanation. There's no need to dramatize or declare what everyone sees, it simply is. And that's precisely what makes those who follow them closely want to observe them always, because every gesture has its story, every silence its meaning, and every glance contains more than they seem to show. The complicity lies in the everyday, in what might go unnoticed, in the way they understand each other without saying a word. When Taehyung approaches Jungkook, even if it's just to adjust something or pass an object, there's a gentleness that makes everything seem simpler, closer. When Jungkook laughs at something only Taehyung understands, there's a connection that no one else can replicate. It's as if everything around them vanishes for a moment, leaving only them, with their own rhythm, effortlessly, without pretense. The way they care for each other, without announcing it, makes every shared moment feel authentic and precious, even if no one else notices. And so, between games, smiles, and silent gestures, Taekook continues to show what it has always been: two people who understand each other, who support each other, who find each other and stay together without needing grand words, only with the naturalness of what they feel. Every moment seems ordinary and at the same time special, because it is full of details that only they can share and that anyone who observes them closely cannot fail to notice. It is impossible not to perceive it, even though they never say it, because it is in everything they do, in how they move, in how they listen without speaking, in how a simple touch can convey more than any words. That simplicity, that way of being close without showing it, is what makes every moment with them feel so real, so intimate, and so impossible to ignore.